Hello and good morning to everyone. Today we have a special issue of the Kreslo program. So as you can see, I'm moderating this session in English because we have a special guest today from the United States. Hello, please introduce yourself.
With pleasure. My name is Valliere Richard Auzenne. I am from Florida. I am in the United States, specifically Florida State University. I am here on a Fulbright scholarship.
So you came through a Fulbright scholarship. Can you give some more details about your stay here? For how long are you here? What are you doing here at the Siberian Federal University? What are your objectives?
Certainly. I'm here until the end of December, and I have the pleasure of teaching a documentary course. I have 8 students in my course, very bright students. These are master's students. And they are divided into groups. They are making 3 separate documentaries. And my goal, obviously, is to teach them how to make good documentaries. So these are first semester master's students. So this is, in most cases, I guess 6 out of the 8 students, this is their first documentary. But I have 2 students in the class who are experienced students. So one, I believe, is an experienced broadcaster here in Krasnoyarsk, Ilya.
So working with these students, have you already noticed any differences in the approach to how to make a documentary? Because some of them are experienced already.
Yes, this is true. Actually, it's kind of interesting because I have been asked this question before, and not really. As a matter of fact, even the topics, I think everyone expects there to be huge differences, but this is a course that I teach in the United States, in the film school where I teach as well at Florida State University. And the students, for instance, in the last couple of years, I have had students that have made documentaries about the school a cappella choral group, and also about a young photographer outside of Chicago, Illinois. My students this semester here in Krasnoyarsk, one of the topics is the choral group here at Siberian Federal University, and one of the topics is a young photographer here in Krasnoyarsk. So as far as techniques, I would say I don't see any differences. The students my students here are very excited to be doing documentaries. They take it very seriously. They're very, very talented, and so I think, it's led me to think about why is this the case, because these are students from different countries, and yet when you think about it, they are seeing a lot of the same things. The internet has brought many things to many places, shall we say. So I would assume, and certainly I've talked with them about films that they've seen and television programs, and so they have seen a lot of the same.
All the same?
Yes.
As the students in the United States?
Yes, yes.
So we are much more closer than we may think.
Yes. I think everyone wants to emphasize the difference, but the differences. But I think actually there are more similarities that I think people, people want to acknowledge.
Yeah, differences are more interesting to discuss, maybe.
Perhaps, maybe. That could be, yes, that could be very true. And of course, as a teacher, I'm excited to see the similarities. So maybe that's why my view is a little bit different.
Why did you decide to come to Russia? Exactly to Russia? Exactly to this place, to Krasnoyarsk, to Siberian Federal University?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, those are 2 different questions. Specifically Russia, because it is a country that I have been coming to since the 1990s, and I love Russia actually very much. It's a wonderful country, and the people are very warm and interesting, and specifically the Siberian Federal University, I belong to an organization which meets in Russia every other year, and the conference was held here at the Siberian Federal University about 5 years ago. So that was my introduction. That was my first time actually to Siberia, and definitely to Krasnoyarsk. And I was very impressed with the university. I guess at that time it was maybe 5 years old, so it was a new university. And I had the pleasure of having a student at that time, who was a student at that time here, who was my interpreter. And so I learned a lot more about the university through him. He has since gone on and graduated, of course. But and I had the pleasure of getting to know other students. That there were about, I think, 10 of us Americans that came to the conference, and each of us was assigned a student as our host, I would say, more than just an interpreter, but a host. So,
how do you feel here with English language? So how comfortable do you feel here at the university? Is it a friendly place for those who don't speak Russian as much, or?
I think it's probably a little bit more challenging, but I don't come to other countries expecting people to speak English. I am in another country, so I come here knowing that I am the one who doesn't speak the language of the country. So people are very kind. I know a few Russian words, and people are very kind and very helpful, whether they're here on the university or people in shops. And I think, like, whatever country I think you visit, if you know how to ask where to get somewhere, you know the words for please and thank you, and you're polite, I think people are very, very welcoming, and they appreciate you making an effort. So I know a few phrases which are very helpful. And again, I'd say, having been coming to Russia since the 1990s, having Google Translate really helps to be able to type in phrases or words and actually, but I try to use that as a last resort. I try to use my few Russian words and phrases. But I would say, as far as, certainly on campus, it's very, very easy. There's usually someone who speaks a little bit of English. But that could be because of the departments that I'm associated with. And students certainly are very helpful when they see that I'm in need. People are very, very warm. But also in the city of Krasnoyarsk, I know that they are probably not used to seeing a lot of Americans. But again, people have been very, very helpful. And sometimes it can be frustrating for them and for me if we can't come up with the words, but that's why Google Translate comes in very handy.
That's a part of an exchange, of cultural exchange.
Yes, yeah? Absolutely.
Yeah, so now we are moving slowly towards the end of our issue. Yes. I would like to ask you very short questions to show what are your personality, so to say. Yeah. So, what is your favorite book?
My favorite book, A Room with a View by Virginia Woolf.
What is your favorite cuisine?
My favorite cuisine? Well, I do not eat meat. I eat fish. That's the only type of meat that I eat. So that's kind of hard to say. I'm not a vegetarian, but I am what's called a pescatarian.
Yeah. So all types of fish.
Yes. Okay. Yes, very much. I like fish.
Yeah. What is your favorite country if I can say this, have favorite country.
Oh, a
you would
favorite
like to visit
country.
next?
Oh,
No?
I don't know if I have a favorite country. I mean, obviously, Russia is one of them because I come here. I also very much enjoy Spain, France. I spend a lot of time going to both of those countries, and I've taught in Spain as well.
Great. Thank you for this wonderful interview. I think we've finished.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, maybe another question. The
Okay.
last one.
One more.
So these documentaries that your students are working on,
Yes.
can our viewers see them?
Yes, we will have a screening at the end of the semester. We haven't set a date yet, but they are very short, choo-choo. They're 7 to 10 minutes long, but yes, and perhaps maybe even shown on this station, I don't know.
So will it be announced somehow? So those who are interested in this
Yes,
project
I'm sure it will be, yes.
Great. So we are looking to this announcement.
Yes, and can I add one thing?
Yeah.
A little bit of, I think my poor students have a little additional pressure because not only in many cases this is the first documentary that they've made, but I have been asked by the chair of my department to have at least 2 minutes of each of the films complete for a conference that SFU is holding this month in November. I believe it's the 23rd and 24th of this month, a journalism conference. So the students' work will appear there. So
Great. Great. So we can see the preliminary results of your
yes,
work and stay here.
yes.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This was Kreslo program. See you next time.